Fred, after the Ohio State game, you said that this stretch that you guys are on right now is important because you think it can result in momentum for you guys going forward. What does that mean? What does momentum mean?
Well, I think it's important, obviously, to finish out the season, as well as we can. I'm really proud of our guys for continuing to go out there and battle, through a difficult season. I can't tell you how much it means to have this guy back on the floor full time, with his timing back and with his conditioning back. You see how much he means to our team. He took 5 shots the other night. You could argue that he was the player of the game for us, with everything that he provides, from defense, from leadership, to making the right play. He's just doing everything for our team right now. And, when you look back at our season and, you lose a guy that's this important in the third game of the season, and to get him back on the floor and you see, certainly what we're capable of doing now, it's important to guys we have on our roster. So, it's just been fun to see our guys go out and continue to play and play their best basketball of the season. And you see, when you get a little confidence, how much better you perform on the basketball court on both ends. And, just got to keep going out there fighting. We know we're in for a tough battle tomorrow with what is at stake for Wisconsin with senior night. I know it's going to be very emotional in that building. It's going to be very loud in that building, and they're fighting for the overall #1 seed and an outright championship in the Big Ten. So, I admire what that team has done. They've won so many close games over the course of the season. And when you look back on it at the end of the year, the teams that find a way to get over the hump and win those close ones, are the ones on top right now. And, we lost, obviously, a lot of those early. I thought that really affected our confidence. But now that we've gotten over the hump, I think 3 of our last, 5 or 6, it's been fun to see. And you just see the spirit of the guys, even in practices, in our walkthroughs, in our preparations, in film sessions. It's been gratifying for our guys. I mean, obviously, we look back, we're all very disappointed, with the results of the year, but as we say, anything can happen. We got one more game, and then we're all 0-0 heading into the postseason.
You mentioned a few times about just the difference in pace that you guys have played with these past couple games. It wasn't too long ago where that was one of the things you were most critical of, with the inability to keep under control. What's been the difference these last couple games in terms of that and guys staying within themselves and not getting hurried up?
Yeah, we're playing with pace, but we're not getting sped up. And I think there's a misconception with that sometimes. If you're going to play with pace, that means you have to shoot it quickly. Pace is getting up the floor, getting into your action, and executing with speed. And, if you have something early, which we've done a good job of, getting open shots by making simple plays, but we haven't, especially when teams have gone on runs, we've stayed within ourselves much better, the best that we have all season. And when you go out there and execute with pace, I mean, we had some possessions in the Penn State game, where it was a beautiful thing to see, for my eyes, and what it can look like when we do that consistently. And I think that's the other thing. We've obviously had games where we played 35 minutes of really good basketball. We played 30 minutes of great basketball, 38 minutes. But, to play 40 consistent minutes on both ends of the floor, you see what we're capable of doing. And again, I point to, the importance of Trey being out there with us right now. He certainly helped in that area. He's a guy that's competed at the highest level in both the ACC and the Big Ten now, and it's important to have that experience on the floor. I mean, even Bryce, he comes into this thing wide-eyed, and, took him a little time to understand, I think, what this thing was all about. But, he's grown in a huge way, and it helps Bryce to have a guy like Trey on the floor. It helps Alonzo to have a guy like Trey on the floor that can go out and make plays. The pace has been much better consistently. We've had good possessions of it, but the overall consistency is where it needs to be right now. And, hopefully we can finish strong.
Did you see, whether it was in practice or in a game, did you have a moment or a series of things where you saw that, okay, maybe something clicked?
Well, listen, we've changed a couple times things that we've been doing out there on the floor. We started the year in the open set, spread set, where there's a lot of freedom involved in that. I've talked a lot about that. Didn't love the way that looked, so we changed to get a little bit more control, try to get Derek more involved. And now we've changed a little bit more to where we're running just a lot of misdirection type actions to get into the spread ball screens. And again, when you have pace into those actions, it can be difficult to guard, especially when you're making shots. And that's another thing. When that thing goes in the hole, it looks pretty damn good. I don't care what you're running. When it doesn't, it's not very pretty. And the other part of that doesn't matter what your system is. If you don't run it with pace, you don't run it with purpose, you're not going to get a lot out of it. For what we're doing right now, the pace and purpose with everything that we're doing, is the reason that we've had some success with it. And even Iowa, I thought we played a really good basketball game against Iowa. You had guys that we were going to live with shooting the ball that made shots, and then when we adjusted, they stayed hot. We did a great job on Murray. Nobody had held him under 20 in, I don't know how long, and then, Trey did an unbelievable job on Bohannon. So, you tip your hat to him. You can't take away everything, but I think when you look at it from Minnesota to Iowa to Penn State to Ohio State, I mean, we played pretty darn good this last stretch of the season.
Trey, for you, what have you seen? What split the switch with you guys, especially offensively?
Offensively, just pace and then just making good decisions. When we play with pace, we got 4 switches. I feel like we have a lot of people who can beat their man one-on-one. And with pace, it forces, like I said, it forces the switches. And, we're just making good decisions when the help comes.
Is there more trust offensively? It seems like with ball movement and making the right decisions, you got to trust your teammates to make the right plays. Do you think that that's reached the level where it's needed to be?
Most definitely. Like Coach said, especially when you're hitting shots, it makes it a whole lot easier to trust one another that your teammate's going to hit the shot. So I also think that helps a lot as well.
What did you see, or what did it mean, Trey, to finish off that game against Ohio State? Penn State, obviously, you had a pretty big lead. You could work off that, but just being able to close one out when it was close, what did that mean to do that?
It felt real good. We got the ball in the hands of our playmakers, and whether it was them making shots or making the right reads and making the kick, and the people they kicked it to making the right shots. Just overall, we took the time off the clock and then executed at the end of the shot clock.
You've looked more comfortable on offense recently, taking more pull-ups and drive to the rim, bring more effectiveness. What's been the difference for you the last 2 games?
Just staying ready, honestly. Staying ready and just trying to play to my strengths. Like I said, athleticism is not going to be there probably all the way. So just finding other ways to try to work on my game. And, just not worried about scoring or doing things like that as well. Just focusing on the defensive end. And then whenever I get an opportunity to take a shot, just take advantage of it.
Is that a rhythm thing? Do you feel just because you have more time, you've had more time to sort of get reacclimated from the injury? Has that made a difference for you?
Definitely. At first, I thought it was just a lot of working out. Could do it. But, the game was super fast when I first got back. It was hard to stop on a dime. And then just everything was just moving fast, honestly. It was just super hard to make reads. Just sitting out as long as I sat out, but it's definitely starting to slow down game by game.
Is there anything in particular that makes Wisconsin difficult to play that comes to mind?
Experience, and they have playmakers as well. Their togetherness, and everyone plays their role and thrives in their role. So I feel like that's why they're the top team, one of the top teams in the conference.
I think the biggest thing with that, Steve, with Wisconsin, you can't speed them up. And, that's one of the most impressive things I've seen is when teams go on runs in loud buildings, you can see things getting crazy in there, and they never get sped up. And, again, to Trey's point, you got a guy, Brad Davison, that came back for his COVID year. You got a guy in Johnny Davis that, you could argue is, one, not only the Big Ten Player of the Year, one of the top candidates for National Player of the Year, and certainly one of the most improved guys. He's been unbelievable this year. Chucky plays way beyond his years as a freshman, is just doing a great job for them. And then their bigs, with Wall, he's a very tough cover because of his ability to post and ability to take off the dribble, and then their bigs shoot it. And, it just puts you in a tough position, but, they do such a good job of not getting sped up. They never have, going all the way back to the Bo Ryan years. So, they're running the same thing, same system, and, that's what I think makes them special. And you look at their games, they beat Minnesota by 2, they beat Penn State by, in a 1 or 2 possession game. They've had so many of those games that they've won, and they know they can win those now. And when you know you can win those and you have the confidence to win those close games, it makes such a world of difference. And, just to add on to Trey, you know, a lot of people, you know, they know the injury 2 months, but what you don't realize when you're coming back from that, you know, his workouts consisted of being in the pool. His workouts consisted of being on a bike and on an anti-gravity treadmill to keep the impact off his foot. He had about, 2.5 practices, Trey, before he got thrown back into the fire. So we talk about how fast the game is when you get back out there. You know, he's on a minute restriction for those first 4 games as well. And now that that's taken off and he's getting his timing and he's getting his conditioning and things are slowing down, you just see how much more effective you can be out there on the floor. Because I remember back when I came off an injury, you know, you're usually not very effective for the first several as you're getting your timing and conditioning back. You just can't simulate that when you're sitting out as long as you do. So, you know, again, just to have Trey back at full strength, you see what that means to our team.
Fred, you mentioned having 1 left and then starting 0-0. Is there something special, the format of, you know, just the college basketball season that it kind of gives you that jolt near the end where it's like you can build momentum and have something you can shoot for here in the next
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, certainly there's an excitement level at this time of year, and we want to get ourselves to a point where we're competing for something at this time of year. You know, you're already in there. You have to win 1 or 2 to get yourself in to where you're competing in the postseason. You know, that's the fun part, and all the rest of it's a grind. And, you know, I've been very fortunate to be a part of a couple Big 12 championships and cut down those nets. There's nothing like it, you know, and then you get a chance to compete for the national championship. So, you know, that's certainly where we want to be. Again, I love the momentum and the way we're playing right now, and we can carry that over to next week and certainly into the future.
The pace, the purpose, the shot making, why now? I think 28, 29 games in.
I mean, this guy's got a lot to do with that. There's no doubt about that. You know, it's a reality of our situation. When you get a guy Trey's importance back on the floor, Alonzo's making simple plays. You know, the best he's done all year. You look at his numbers the last 7 games. You know, you put those up against any point guard in the country. So, you know, you know, I love the talent on a roster. There's no doubt about it. And you add an important piece back to your cog. You know, you see the difference that we're playing with. So, it's again. Consistency, I would say, Jimmy, is the biggest thing that I've seen. We've had stretches where we've done it, but in this league, man, if you're not playing the full 40, you're not going to get over